Hello there, my name's Dana Metro and welcome to the video. And in this video I thought I'd talk a little bit about the Thomas products that are coming out in the Bachmann range this year. It's not very often I do talk about the ones that are coming out, although when I do other reviews I do mention that they're coming out as well. But I thought I'd do this video specifically talking about that, mainly because obviously there's not much to film at the minute, obviously with a lot of things closed because of the national lockdown, which I totally understand. So I try and do different videos, but I thought I'd talk about a bit more about the products that are coming out this year. So first off, we've got the new Thomas Deluxe set in Bachmann, and it comes with two troublesome trucks. And there is actually a video on YouTube on Bachmann that talk about it, so about the products that are coming out. And this set at the top is actually the only one that comes with the troublesome trucks with loads in them. You can buy the troublesome trucks individually that don't have loads in them. You've also got White Owl, which I think does actually look quite nice actually. Yeah, and obviously it's got Thomas of it as well. And I haven't actually got Thomas himself in the Bachmann range, although I probably should do. I've obviously got them in the Hornby range, but I'm sort of gradually building the collection really. I'm not in a rush to sort of buy them. Although looking at all the products, and I think it's safe to say this year, for a change, I actually like all of the products that have come out. And there's part of me that just wants to get them all at once, really, I guess. But obviously I can't. But I get them sort of gradually, bit by bit. And if we look on the next page, we've got Thomas in his original livery, LSBC, which is London and Brighton Railway, number 70 on it, which was in the 70th anniversary. Obviously last year Thomas was 75, this year 76. Obviously 76 isn't a special 75 or 70. It's not classed as a centenary sort of one. But anyway, they're bringing that out in DCC and Percy as well. And I say in the original Thomas as well, with sounds as well, which does sound good. Personally though, I'm not actually looking at going DCC myself. But obviously if you are, then I think it's a great addition, and hopefully they do more of the engines as well. But yeah, I've not actually built model railway yet, but I do hope to in the future. And when I build it, maybe then I'll consider going DCC, but it is quite expensive. But to be honest with you, I'm happy to run them sort of analog and have a few just running around at a time anyway. Analog, really, it depends what you want really, but I do think it's good that they're doing them anyway. So we go on to the next page, and here you can see all the other ones that are currently out already. Most of these, like Donald and Douglas, Bill and Ben, Diesel, Mavis, Toby, Percy. Percy's not actually on this page. Obviously it's on the previous page, but I've actually got them in the Bachmann range. Then you've got James, and you've got Busy Bee James. And in the episode The Green Controller, he was painted yellow and black because Percy misunderstood instructions. Although it seems a bit weird that the workman would actually listen to James and and actually have painted in that colour sort of thing. And then by the end of the episode, he was back to his red livery again, which was a bit strange, I thought. And I'm in sort of two minds about getting that James, because I've had people ask me recently, am I going to get it? And I have to admit, I've seen the review on Sam's Trains, which is a popular YouTube channel. He supports my channel, I support his channel, and it's some good videos, and it has sort of actually inspired me to get Busy Bee James. But I'll tell you about that another time. And then you've got the original James and his black livery. James was black when he first came to Sodor. My only criticism would be of the Busy Bee James is that it has James's smiling face, which is good because it looks like James's face, in the TV series from the model era of the show. And as I said before, I prefer the model era of the show to the CGI animated series. Although I do think, obviously, the CGI animated series is a lot better than what Thomas is going to be in the future in 2D animation. But hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't end up changing any of the Bachmann models to fit in with that. And it would be interesting to see what characters that are actually still in the show when it changes. But yeah, James has his smiley face, whereas obviously he wasn't very happy when he was painted in that colour. And there's also this deleted photo here from a deleted scene where he's at the coaling plant looking very unhappy, an angry face. And when James was out in the wooden range, because in the wooden range they actually brought James out in this colour as well, he had his angry face. And they also done the Thomas and the Colours one, which is when he was dressed up for the football match. And it'd be nice if they did that in Bachmann as well, actually, although I think the flags that James has on the front of him would be a bit fragile. But on here as well, on this page, you can see they've got Rosie in her old livery, and Diesel with his happy face. And I do actually have that Diesel, as you've probably seen in another video that I've done. But they actually now do a grumpy Diesel, and they do Rosie in her new red livery, which you'll now see on the next page. So yeah, here we are on the next page, and they've announced, and these are the ones I'm actually most excited for. They're bringing out Ryan. Now Ryan's a purple tank engine, and I think that if Bachmann produced this is actually probably going to be the best model of Ryan that anyone's actually produced, because he'd been in the other ranges, but in his other ranges they've got his size wrong and he's only got 6 wheels. Ryan's actually got 8 wheels, so he's got 6 driving wheels and then 2 like bogey wheels at the back. But most of his merchandise, they don't have the right amount of wheels, and for me, I do find that a little bit frustrating. Obviously years ago we had the Ertl range, and they managed to produce Arthur like their last few with the right amount of wheels and that. And even the Take Along range, they got the amount of wheels right on, like ones like Arthur had lots of wheels, because Arthur had 2 extra set of wheels. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if they bring out Ryan, he will actually be the biggest tank engine that Bachmann to date has actually produced, and Hornby as well, because Hornby only had like 6-wheel or 4-wheel tank engines like Bill and Ben and Duck and Percy and Thomas and that, and of course Oliver as well. Whereas Ryan's going to be just that bit bigger, and so basically, from what I've gathered, he'll be a redesigned N2 locomotive. And then next to Ryan, you've got Daisy. Now Daisy was actually mentioned last year, but again, they haven't actually brought her out yet. So it's supposed to be moved this year. So Daisy I'm really excited for. She's always been one of my favourite diesel engines. And at one point when I was younger we had guinea pigs. One was called Daisy and one was called Rosie, funnily enough. My sister's named Rosie, and that was actually before the engine Rosie came along. And then Daisy I named, obviously after the diesel locomotive. And then beneath Ryan and Daisy, so I say them two, I'm actually really, really excited for them coming out. Definitely hope to get, and probably will do. But beneath Ryan and Daisy, you've got Toby's museum brake coach. And now this one, I do think they look very, very nice. And again, on the Bachmann video, it shows them, and it shows them running. And I'm actually really, really surprised that they've done these ones. The reason I'm surprised is because these were only in the model series of the show. In one episode of Series 9, and Toby only had a brake coach. And Percy pulled one in one of the learning segments as well, where he carried Alicia Botti, the famous opera singer. And again, when I watched that video, it was really nice because the guy that was doing it, he actually, had all his facts and that prepared, which is quite nice, showing that, they researched their sort of audience and that. And I think as well, I've seen a lot of fans are quite happy for these coaches coming out, and there's a better look at them. So you've got the composite coach and the brake coach. I say in the episode, Toby was only seen pulling one coach, and obviously Percy as well. But they've actually made a coach that wasn't a brake coach to go with it, which I think is nice as well, because I think as well it looked weird Toby just pulling one coach, so it's nice that they've actually produced a couple. And again, I think when a lot of people heard that these were going to come out initially, because obviously they said they were going to give some coaches to Toby, they either thought it was going to be Elsie, which is his luggage van, or it was going to be Victoria, which was a coach introduced in the Railway series and given to Toby. But it wasn't, but as I say, I'm not too disappointed about that. And right at the bottom of that page is obviously the red brake coaches, which I've got, as you've probably seen in the previous video. And saying these coaches, Toby's museum coaches, are basically them, but repainted. But I don't think it's a waste of money, and I think it's nice that Bachmann produced them, for me anyway, because it's sort of like, a reference to the model series of the show. And they do look really, really nice, actually. And, I think Bachmann's done a really good job of them from what I've seen, so I can't actually wait to get them and review them as well. But like I said, there's some really good stuff coming out this year. So on the next page now, and on the right hand side, you'll see obviously where it all says new. You've got 4 flatbed wagons, so you've got the Brendam cargo and freight crate. And the other Brendam bay shipping one, and Sodal Steamworks. And the Sodal Steamworks, I think I like that one the best. I can't really explain why, but I just think it looks great. And again, these were in the video, on the Bachmann video, and from what I've seen, the loads are actually fixed onto the flatbed, which is good, because last year I got Henry's log car, or the log car, whatever you want to call it, in the Bachmann range, and the logs are actually loose, which worried me about if you're going at a certain speed, about them coming off, or, if there's a bump or anything, them coming off and causing derailment. But these ones are actually fixed, from what I've seen in the video, they're actually fixed onto the flatbeds, which is good. And then you've got an oil tanker, and the oil tanker's got a CGI face on it. There's a better look of it here from another photo I found on the internet. and that was in Big World, Big Adventures, which is basically the newer sort of Thomas CGI, which I haven't really watched, to be honest with you. I don't really watch the show now anyway. But that, from what I've gathered, that oil tanker was when Thomas went to Africa, and I'm not as keen as when Thomas travelled around the world personally. But I do think that the oil tanker looks very good, and again, because it's basically a British one, you could actually just use it anyway with any train. I think it's nice that it's a different colour, and like I say, in general, I just love the tankers. So I think Bachmann produced some really good tankers, and I think this is a great addition, one with a face as well. And I like the ones without the faces, don't get me wrong, but I think when they've got a face added onto them, it's even better, really. And obviously, as you know, I do my exhibits down at Wagon Museum, obviously, when it's open with Thomas and that, and, you know, people can tell if they've got a face on that they're Thomas ones, really. Myself included in that, really. So, yeah, some really good wagons here as well. I definitely want to get them as well. But the flatbeds are actually out at the minute anyway, but probably get them in another month. So on to the next page now, and we've got the 009 range. And as you know, I've got a few of these already. I've already got Scarloo, Rheneas and Rusty. Last year they announced Peter Sam, but it got moved. Again, Peter Sam got moved to this year. And next to Peter Sam is Rheneas in his yellow livery. He was painted yellow for a short time as a bit of a joke after he needed repainting, because Thomas had been looking for a yellow engine, which was actually Victor a long time ago. Anyway, so yeah, they're bringing out yellow Rheneas. And I'm sort of surprised about yellow Rheneas, to be honest with you, because I'd have hoped that they would have brought out, you know, Sir Handel or even Duncan. Duncan's one of my favourite ones, but in the CGI series, I don't think he looks nearly as good as he did in the Railway series. And that's the thing as well, when a lot of them come into the CGI series, again, I don't really like CGI, but a lot of the narrow gauge engines looks a lot more detailed than what they look like in real life. And again, I've been on the Railway in Wales, Talcum Railway, you know, which is what the Reverend W. Audrey, who was obviously creator of the Railway series, based them upon. And then on the next page, next to it, you've obviously got the red and blue vans. Now you've obviously got the narrow gauge box van, which is obviously used for luggage, and that's basically, if you look carefully, there's actually a still from the old bridge, which is a Series 7 episode, and they've edited it slightly. And I don't actually remember them being any blue sort of cargo vans on the narrow gauge railway. The blue vans are mainly just the brake vans, which are on the back of the coach trains, from what I remember. But then obviously you had the red vans, which were obviously both cargo and brake vans as well, which again the narrow gauge engines pulled. Like I said, Peter Sam as well, he's one of my favourite engines, so, you know, I'm really looking forward to when he comes out. And again, on the Bachmann video, they said that he's coming along nicely, and so is Daisy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be out very soon. You know, I'm hoping they don't both come out at the same time, because otherwise I'm going to be a bit struggling to decide who to buy first. But yellow Rheneas I might actually buy, to be honest with you, because I think he did actually look very nice in his yellow livery. But at the same time, like I said, I'm surprised that Sir Handel or Duncan didn't come out. And there's other narrow gauge engines. I mean, I like the narrow gauge engines in general, to be honest with you, so I'm probably going to name most of them here. But obviously you've got Luke, you know, he's quite nice. I'd like it if they'd done him, or Millie. She's probably one of my favourite narrow gauge engines, to be honest with you. You know, obviously, but say Peter Sam as well. And they have obviously Mighty Mac in the model series. Obviously, I don't think they'll produce Mighty Mac because he's not been in the CGI series, but basically, which was two engines with heads both, so faces both ends. And I also really like Fearless Freddy as well, but again, he's not been in the CGI animated series. He was only in Series 12, which is when just the faces were animated, but they still use models for that, so he's not actually been in the full CGI series like the other narrow gauge engines. The same with Mighty Max, so if they actually produced them, we're very, very surprised. But like I said, they've actually produced Toby's coaches from the model series, so again, I was really surprised by that. And obviously people also saying as well that, you know, they wanted Stepney to come out, which I do agree with. I mean, I've got Stepney in the Hornby range, as you've probably seen in my other videos. And Stepney's based upon a real engine on the Bluebell Railway. Another one that I actually really like is Sonny, who's in the CGI series. And I've actually seen his basis before, so I think if they actually produced him, you know, that'd be really good. And on the bottom of the right-hand page, obviously you've got Bertie the Burst Howard the helicopter and Jeremy the jet plane. And I wish that they'd actually add on to more of their, obviously they come under what they call accessories. I wish they'd sort of add on to that, really. I'd like it if they produce ones like, you know, Caroline the car, or Patrick the cement mixer, or Kelly the crane, you know, to go back one, really. I think that they'd look really, really nice. And I mean, I've got Jeremy and Harold, and I've got Terence the tractor as well. You've probably seen my other videos. But yeah. So yeah, I do wish they'd add them to their accessories range, like some more vehicles and that. And that's the thing. I think if Bachmann done a poll and put it on their website and asked the fans to vote for what they wanted, named all the characters that they haven't actually produced, it'd probably give them a good idea of what they want. But I do think that, say, what they've produced this year is really good as well. I suppose can't get it all out at the same time. And like I said, I do really like Bachmann, but the problem is we do tend to, I always find we tend to wait for a long, long time. And I mean, I suppose at the minute, with the pandemic, we've got to give them the benefit of the doubt as well, because things must be hard for them, with, transporting, exporting and all that, blah, blah, blah. But, it does take a long time, but I think it's always worth the wait. We now move on to the G-scale range in the Bachmann range. And the only one I've got is Winston, the red car, which is above Paxton and Diesel, which are both brand new. Paxton and Diesel I really, really like. And again, they were in the video, and I was amazed at how massive they were. I didn't think they were going to be that big. But then obviously Winston's quite small, but then, as I said, my view on Winston before, I think he's just that bit too small, really. But nevertheless, a great model. And I do really like the G-scale range, and like I said, I do hope to get more of them. And I won't be in a huge hurry to get them. I mean, it does seem quite rare Bachmann discontinues anything, really. But again, unfortunately, I can't afford to buy it all at the same time, and I'd rather take my time with buying stuff as well. But yeah, I do think that Paxton and Diesel look really good, and I think they're a great addition to the G-scale range. Next page here, it shows you. So what I've done was basically this is from the screenshot from the catalogue. I've actually just downloaded it off the Bachmann website and looked at it for myself, which you can do as well. But yeah, here you can see where it says new on the right hand side. Next to the wagons, it says new. So you've got the mining car. Oh, so the wagon, sorry. Obviously, sometimes they're called cars in America. Trucks. So the Sodal coal wagon, and you've got the Sodal scrap wagon. And Sodal scrap wagon sort of reminds me of the one that I've got in Hornby, actually. Which I've actually got quite a few of recently, and I was having a bit of a sort out recently, and I found out I've actually got more of them than I realised. But I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think with wagons it's nice to have more than one of them. Right at the top as well, in the left-hand corner of the right-hand page, as the second page, you've got the Spiteful Brake Van, which I've also got. I've got that in HO, which is pretty much the same as 00. But they do it now in the Bachmann range as well. And you've got a nice variety of tankers as well. And again, I really do like the tankers that they've brought out. And hope to get them as well. I mean, the large scale ones do tend to be more expensive, so I'm not in a huge hurry to buy them. The HO ones tend to be a lot more, I find, affordable as well. But it's a collection. It's a slow building thing, really. So I don't want to sort of rush to sort of buy them, because once you brought them all at the same time, then you just don't see the fun anymore, really. So be a gradual thing. But yeah, I do really like the wagons that they've brought out. These new ones, you can get them in the HO range as well. As you probably saw on the previous page as well. But they've been out for a while. But it's nice as well, because these ones actually have loads in them as well. And last off, you've got N-Gauge. Now, personally, I don't really do N-Gauge. And these, basically, they're bringing out, I think they started doing them last year, the N-Gauge ones. So you've already got Thomas and Percy, Nanny and Clarabelle. So now they're saying they're bringing out James, Toby, Scruffy, the oil tanker, the fuel tanker, the water tank. Basically, you get them in the G-scale range anyway, and the HO range. And the water one I actually got for Christmas in HO range. So I've already got Toby. But yeah. And again, all these pretty much look like what they look like in the CGI animated series. And so I do think they look really nice, but I don't really do N-Gauge, and I think N-Gauge is a bit too small, really. I mean, personally, when I watch the train, when the trains are going round, I like to watch the wheels sort of turn on them, and I mean, Toby's one of my favourite ones, even though you can't see his wheels. I think he's a bit more unusual. I like him probably the most, to be honest. But I don't really do N-Gauge, so I'm probably not going to buy these, but I do think they are nice to look at, and nevertheless, when model railway shows are back on again, it'd be nice to see them on other people's layouts as well. But they do look really nice. And then on the last page of this, so yeah, you've got Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, and it's quite nice actually, because Thomas looks a lot smaller than Annie and Clarabelle, and it sort of takes you back to the early model series, because he was just a little bit shorter, and Annie and Clarabelle were a little bit longer than him. So I think size-wise, it actually looks quite nice from what I can see. But yeah, I probably won't buy the N-Gauge, but it is nice to look. I think it is nice to look at, and I mean, I think you can only do so much as well with space and things like that as well. Obviously, the fact I would do 00 as well, so doing N-Gauge as well, it'd be a bit much really. But they all look really nice nevertheless. But like I said, I think this year is a really good year. Hopefully they all come out this year. Like I said, back when we do tend to wait a long time. But I suppose I've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. There could be a reason why we wait for a long time. But I think with it like anything, it is worth the wait in the end. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.